We're very fortunate today to have a lawmaker here, Chris Lauzen. Chris Lauzen has served 14 years in the General Assembly. 14 years in the General Assembly. He's been a champion on fiscal reform and a true watchdog of the taxpayers' dollars. Senator Lauzen has been the past chairman of the Commerce and Industry Committee, a past member of the Economic and Fiscal Commission, and a past member of the School Funding Task Force. Currently, Senator Lauzen is the minority spokesperson on the Revenue Committee, a member of the Appropriations Committee, and a co-chairman of the Legislative Audit Commission. Okay, you're going to be busy this year. The Senator has a BS in cum laude in Management Science and English from Duke University, an MBA from Harvard Business School. He's an elected delegate in the 1996 White House Conference on Small Business, a member of the Illinois Economic Development Commission, and of course he's married to his wife Sarah and has 4 wonderful children. Senator?
It's really amazing how this governor brings so many people together. I am delighted to be here with you tonight. I have run, and you have elected me to kill bad ideas like this. So not only am I going to vote no, I'm going to vote heck no on this proposal.
I'll vote hell no.
Yeah, I was going to say that, Jim, but they taught me to be, polite. But, as I look around the room, I see so many friends, so many great stories of entrepreneurship, of service to the community, of people who believe what the Founding Fathers believed in limited government. I talked to Joe Morris earlier today, and many of you know Joe Morris. And he gave me a great definition of what we're up against tonight. He goes, government is a monopoly on the legitimate use of force, both domestically and internationally. Think about that. Government is a monopoly on the legitimate use of force. I think that that's why the power to tax is the power to destroy. So I think that you've asked me here tonight to give you a political report, maybe a status report about where are we in this fight. And I'll do my very best to fulfill that expectation. The governor who's proposing this massive diversion of $7 billion from the productive competitive economy to government spending and control has never signed the front of a payroll check. He's never had to put up his house, put up a second mortgage, to set aside the working capital in order to make payroll. I know what it feels like, you know what it feels like, to sit at a kitchen table, look across with a couple of small kids sitting there, and explain to your wife why there's not going to be money that month to pay the payroll, because there's not going to be money there to pay your mortgage, because you've got responsibilities to your employees to make payroll. Now, when a governor says to you that you're a bunch of fat cats, I say that he doesn't know a darn thing about what he's talking about. Governor Blagojevich did not cover himself in glory of being a serious contributor when he served in the State House, as most of you know. He missed half of his votes when he was sent off to Congress. He missed half of his votes when he served in Congress. He's required by leaders in his own party to sign contracts. They call them in Springfield memoranda of understanding, where a handshake used to be good enough between politicians. He now has to sign his name to these memoranda of understanding. In fact, Blagojevich is under more federal investigations, as the paper reports almost every day, than any governor in the state of Illinois. But I guess that he did marry well into the Chicago political machine, where they really can get away with practically anything they want, because there's such a concentration of power. Where every governor used to meet with various groups who cared about public policies, and they make the rounds every year. You'd go into the governor's office, or he'd be out in the you guys are so excited about this, sidebar. But this governor has isolated himself in Chicago, protected and guarded by 5 to 6 lobbyists. You can't get to the guy. The press can't even get to the guy. Back door into the Capitol, out the door. You've seen the descriptions of the black SUVs, and off he goes, doesn't answer these questions. But he now compares himself to Hercules, struggling against the Hydra. He calls it a moral imperative to double the tax on the sales tax, having business collected, as the previous speaker said, you know that the consumers are going to pay it. That means that, I guess if you're opposed to this massive tax increase, the shift from the productive economy into government spending and control, that somehow that's wrong, that's immoral. He calls it a moral imperative. Actually, I got to tell you, it's a laughing stock in Springfield. I mean, people get that one, and it's just incredible. Earlier this week, on Monday, he declared Armageddon on the legislature. I don't know how many of you read that in the newspaper, that it's Armageddon. I mean, I swear, the guy is isolated. He should spend some more time with the folks who are going to end up either voting for or against this. This isn't build Illinois. This is destroy Illinois. When it comes to job and job creation, it's not going to be Illinois first. It will be Illinois last. The reason why I'm here tonight is to encourage you and all of us in the effort to kill really bad public policy. The threat is serious, and it has to be beaten. But I would warn this group that I think that this maneuver now is becoming more of a stalking horse or a feint to what they really intend to do to us by the end of May 31st of this year. You know, you consider the score. I think Jim mentioned accurately, when Mayor Daley is against something, when your own lieutenant governor is against it, when both of your financial officers, Dan Hines and Alex Janulius, even if Wendell Jones is Emil Jones is pushing it in the Senate, let's count some noses in the legislature. Let's see how many votes we have. In the Republican caucus, there's 22 of us. There are 0 votes for this proposal. In the Democrat caucus, according to Terry Link, there was another person who was quoted, also Frank Montino, who serves over in the House but has good relationships after about 18 years of serving in the General Assembly. They both say that there's no more than 5 to 10 votes, and you need 30 votes out of their 37 over on the Democrat side. But they are pushing it. But I think that what we have to be especially worried about is that this is phase 1, and phase 1 is probably dying right now. But what's going to happen in phase 2? Is it possible that these folks could be so clever that they make something so bad and they hype it so much that by the time they give us an alternative, that we will accept anything? I mean, think about it. You've read about House Bill 750. That has been fought. There was an earlier version that Dawn Clark Netsch sacrificed her bid for governor. A couple years later, Jim Edgar came and basically took the same thing, where it's a so-called swap from property tax to income tax. What House Bill 750, which is on a track right behind the general or the gross receipts tax, it's a 67% increase in your income tax. 67% increase. I've had people who are proponents of that say to an audience like this, the last one, most recent one was in Elgin, say, well, it's only 2%. It's from 3% to 5%. Where I come from, 2 over 3 is a 67% increase in the penalty on work and savings. Why would we ever do that? We say all the time that, we value work and savings, and yet